is going to be a quick little rundown of the runes and what kind of I'm just going to show you a little bit of rune page and explain why you would take certain rune choices, so you can decide on what you want to run. So the most popular rune choice is going to be Electrocute, and they'll run something like this. It's very meta right now to take all of the early sustain choices like Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter, because right now it's all about having the most pressure in lane and having the most ability to stay in lane in order to farm more, to zone people off a farm. Getting a health advantage is really powerful right now. So normally you'll take the primary setup, something like this, and Ghost Poro is also really good. About 50-50, you'll take Ghost Poro or Eyeball Collection. Personally, I take Ghost Poro almost every time. The reason Ghost Poro is so nice is because it allows you to ward the scuttle bushes, the river bushes, before the game starts and minion spawns, which gives you vision of the enemy jungle when they try to go take the scuttle crab. It lets you see that they're going for the scuttle crab, and then also lets you see if they vertical jungle into your jungle, which means they go invade your jungle to try and steal camps. You'll see this a lot when they're playing early powerful duelists, like let's say a Lee Sin or something. They'll vertical jungle, or you can even see tanks. It's really popular for Amumus right now to try and vertical jungle to cheese enemy camps in order to get an advantage without actually. But that's kind of a side. You use Ghost Poro in order to ward those bushes. It's really important. And then also, it helps you when you're split pushing, because you're able to push up a little further and ward the bushes with your zombie Poro or your Ghost Poro, and have that extra safety while you're farming lanes or split pushing or pushing up and things like that. So it's a really top tier rune. Both of these are really great. Now for secondary tree, you have a few options. The best things you can do is go into sorcery generally, and probably the second best thing you can do is go into inspiration. Resolve situationally is really amazing, mostly as a sustain option. If you're in a really high pressure matchup, maybe like a LeBlanc for instance, going resolve would be worthwhile. Precision is greedy, I would say. Not many people do this, but I do know some people in Master and such that go something like this, right? So I would say stay away from precision generally. The best runes you can take, Transcendence is the best rune in this tree. I'll explain a little further because Celerity and Absolute Focus are both really good too. But 80% of pro players will take Transcendence. And then you have some more flexibility on whether you want to take Nimbus Cloak or you want to take Gathering Storm or Scorch. And that's really the three other things you're going to think about, these other three. Scorch will give you more early pressure, more chip damage, allow you to get health lead or look for solo kills and things like that. Gathering Storm just scales better. And Nimbus Cloak just has all around really nice rune. Whenever you use your ultimate, the extra utility from the movement speed is nice. So you just decide which is best for you out of these three. And the middle three are a little flexible. Celerity gives you more early power than Transcendence, but of course after you hit the Transcendence activate at level 10, Transcendence is so much better than Celerity that's why most pro players take Transcendence. Or you can take Absolute Focus. You generally only take Absolute Focus in a lane you have kill pressure on, and that'd be that. So these three are flexible, and you choose one of Nimbus Cloak, Gathering Storm, or Scorch to fill up the other slots. The other thing you'll see people do is they'll always take Cosmic Insight. If they're going to go Inspiration Tree, they'll always take Cosmic Insight, and then you decide which one of these other things you want. Do you want the free boots? Free boots are really nice. It allows you to go straight into Proto Belt without having to think about buying boots. Of course, there's a drawback that you can't buy boots, but of course, that's manageable in my opinion. So you can go something like that. Or you can get the free stopwatch. Stopwatch is really nice. You can even just have the stopwatch active without even building Zonias. It makes your Zonias cheaper, but you don't even have to get it. You can just have the stopwatch to have a nice stasis active, and then sell it after you use the stasis active, and it will be great. You won't feel bad about that. The other thing you'll see people do is mini dematerializer generally. You can do dematerializer in order to get priority in the lane. Priority basically means you have the ability to leave lane first in order to join a fight. And that's really important throughout the game, because being able to be at the fight first allows you to have a greater chance of winning the fight. So That's generally why you take Dominion Dematerializer. Another feels good kind of thing about Dominion Dematerializer is that when you dematerialize caster minions, you get to reach that point where you one-shot the caster minions with your E earlier into the game, and that really feels nice, doesn't it? Biscuits, there's some argument that you could take biscuits, but it's really fringe, and mostly just stay away from them. So Resolve Tree. For early sustain, if you're against like a LeBlanc or something that's going to poke you a lot, just take these runes. You have the bone plating and the second wind, gives you a lot of sustain. Throw a Doran shield on top of that. The LeBlanc might as well just leave lane and wait. You might as well just give up on killing you, you know, if you're playing decently. So, yeah. Some pro players actually running this, even though you don't see this setup a lot. Isn't super popular. This is the best early sustain page you can get right here with the Taste of Blood, Ravenous Hunter, and the Resolve package here. Chrysalis is an amazing rune, but generally the only time you ever go into Resolve is in order to take the early sustain. So Chrysalis isn't really something you think about, even though it's really good. Yeah, so that is Domination Tree, and you'll notice that the secondary trees generally stay consistent throughout the pages. So I'm not going to explain the ideology behind these runes again. But let's move on to Predator. Generally, you see something like this on Predator with any of the secondary packages we talked about with the Sorcerer, Resolve, or Inspiration. Generally, Sorcerer and Inspiration is best, and Resolve is nice into those really hard pokey matchups like you know, Azir or LeBlanc. Just those two off the top of my head. And even when you take Predator, generally you want to take Ravenous Hunter because Ravenous Hunter just gives you the most early sustain, early staying power, and it scales really well throughout the game. It's just the best hunter overall, but sometimes you'll see people take the Ingenious Hunter with Predator because it turns your boots into Predator turns your boots into an activatable item, and then the Ingenious Hunter reduces the cooldown of the activatable items. So that's something that feels good, man. But it's a little more greedier. So generally, I would say just stick with Ravenous Hunter. Moving on to the Sorcery Keystones. This is the highest pressure page you can actually get on Vladimir. This will give you the best early game you can possibly get. Celerity, Scorch, Airy, just adding a little extra chip damage to every single thing you do, as well as taking the early sustain options with the Taste of Blood and the Ravenous Hunter. You'll see this generally if you're going to go secondary domination, because you're taking a different keystone than a domination keystone. You always go Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter because the sustain is just too powerful to give up this in this meta. So this is normally what you see most professional players or just high-low players go if they have secondary domination, right? So this is just a really high-pressure page. It's pretty common actually in high-low, especially in Korea, for people to go Airy and get the early pressure because this will open you up to get solo kills or to zone people from farm really well. There's really no flexibility in this page. You can technically take Transcendence, maybe, but the whole point of this page is to get the most early power in order to create that advantage through this early pressure. The other thing you can do is run Phase Rush, and generally when you run Phase Rush, people will run something like this. Of course, you can change up the package. You can go perfect timing. You could Dematerializer. You always take Cosmic Insight if you're going Inspiration, something like this. This is something, this is a page I really like. I know Elite 500 is really like a similar page with the Celerity. So Phase Rush, and mostly you choose Phase Rush because it gives you a lot of early safety, as well as the ability to run down people, so it has some aggressive uses as well. But mostly it is early safety. When a bruiser tries to engage on you and you have Phase Rush, you just kind of disengage with that movement speed, or if you get ganked by the jungler or something, or ganked by the support, having that Phase Rush in those 1v2 matchups, helping you get back to your tower, get back to safety, is really useful, and that's why Phase Rush is quite good. So that's something to consider if you are more of a passive player or something like that, or just you want the extra safety. Another thing that Phase Rush will allow you to do is later in the game when you have a lot of ability power and you just like overkill your targets, you don't actually need a keystone to deal damage. So you'd like to just charge up your abilities, flash in, combo the 80 carry, one-shot them, and then pool away. And that Phase Rush will allow you to, you know, pool away faster. So that's nice. Of course, you can also take, you know, other options in the secondary tree. The Taste of Blood Ravenous Hunter is really nice, as well as the inspiration is really nice. I've never seen anyone take the resolve there, but of course the ideology behind resolve for sustain early on is quite powerful, is great. But the thing that this is a little weaker on this page is that you're not getting the Taste of Blood Ravenous Hunter as well as this to get the fully maximized early sustain. So if you wanted the early sustain with this page, you would go something like that. Okay, so the last keystone you mainly see people run, and this is actually run quite a bit by the pros, is Unsealed Spellbook. It's actually this page, this exact page you see them run most of the time. And there's some flexibility on the perfect timing versus the magical footwear because it's whether you want the early boots or not. And that's that. Unsealed Spellbook is getting a lot more popular because of really Urgot showing up in tournament play because he's able to take Flash Teleport and then swap at level 6 to Ignite and have a lot of kill pressure on his lanes, or swap to Barrier, or swap to Exhaust, or Ghost, or something. And Vladimir can do the same thing. It's really hard not to be useful with the Unsealed Spellbook. You know, even if you're really behind, you can swap to Ghost and shut down the Fed Irelia on the enemy team in a team fight, or something like that. So the Keystone's really good. Yeah, there's not too much to say about that. You just swap your summoners when they're on cooldown. So you just burned your flash to one-shot the enemy laner, right? You just did your combo and you charged up your E. You one-shot the laner with your flash and your ignite. Now you have both summoners on cooldown. With Unsealed Spellbook, you can swap one of those to Ghost. You can swap one to Exhaust or Barrier or whatever. That while it's on cooldown, because that flash is gonna be on cooldown for like 5 minutes anyway. So you swap it and basically get another summoner spell up. So it's good. It's a really good page. Of course, you could also go something like this. It's a little greedier because you won't have the early sustain, but let's say you're versus a tank or something, you don't need the early sustain because their damage is tickling you or something. It's not actually painful. So you can take something like this in the sorcery tree in order to get a better scaling rune. That's about it for the runes. This is a quick little rundown. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, or just join the Vladimir Mains Discord and ask there. All right, well, have a good one, guys.